Welcome back to Dodgy Band Life. I know this is not a Dodgy Band, but I thought I'd make a video about my Honda that I was able to build because of Dodgy Band Life. Basically, van life let me save enough money to waste on this car. But the story behind this car is that I bought it on an auction site that turned out to be a scam. But that site is Dash Hub. They're no longer in business because I guess they're stealing people's money. But basically I paid around $3 grand for it, and I think I spent maybe about $6,000 on it, which seems like a lot. Probably shouldn't have cost that much, but you know, whatever. So probably all in I have about 10 in this thing, and basically what it is a 1991 Honda Accord LX. So it doesn't have the sunroof, and it's 4 doors, which kind of sucks because I would have loved. I used to own a coupe as well, but that one wasn't in as good condition, and the mileage on this thing is amazing. Right there, 26,807 miles. So basically this car was a granny car, and the grandma, I guess she passed or something, I don't know, but the story goes that she gave the car to her grandchild, and then while they were driving around in college, they must have run over a center divider or a sidewalk or something, and that's how it ended up at the auction. Of course, I knew none of this when I bought it. It looked pretty clean in the pictures, and then the guy is supposed to go and sort of like investigate for you, so you have like a middleman. And he said, yeah, you know, there's a little bit like some scrapes, some minor scrapes and stuff under the car, but yeah, it's mostly, you know, it's fine, it runs and drives, you know. And then when I took delivery of the car, that was not the case. What the case was that the entire undercarriage was pretty much destroyed from having run over the curb. And a lot of this, I'm guessing, of the story, like the auction person, he told me about the grandma stuff, but as far as the college kid running over the center divider or whatever, I'm just sort of guessing because that's what it looked like. I basically had to replace the entire suspension, including subframes and everything, because it was all pretty much mangled under there. So what I thought was a pretty clean car was kind of a wreck, but it does have a clean title because, you know, they never fixed it. They just kind of, you know, gave up on it because this thing's not, you know, blue book value is probably not that much. But I've basically did a resto mod on it. I decided to do an OEM plus build. So everything is pretty much OEM. Let's do, I guess I can do the interior first since we're here. But these seats are out of a CD5 Honda Accord, so one model newer. And these are leather. I think this one's actually vinyl. Someone recovered it. And that one's leather. This one's vinyl. I actually prefer the vinyl because vinyl just lasts longer, in my experience, than leather does. Leather, you have to like take care of it. You have to, you know, put oils and stuff on it or whatever to keep it fresh. This car was also originally an automatic. As you can tell here, I haven't changed out the gauge faces. I sort of left it. I had an opportunity to when I had the whole dash ripped apart. I could have replaced that to one that's just like a regular manual gauge, but I like the reminder that this car used to be a manual, so I left that there because really nothing's different than just the park, reverse, neutral, and drive, you know, that column there, indicator column. Otherwise it's pretty much the same. So now you can see it's definitely not an automatic, it's now a manual. So I did a manual swap on it, and I can talk a little bit about that later when I open the hood. It's got a sound system, Pioneer head unit that I put in with JBL speakers, with an amp in the back. So let's see, what else did I do in the interior. This car actually used to be an auto belt. I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the 90s, a lot of cars came with those auto belts that just slid. And while I like those, sometimes they get really annoying, especially when you don't want it to slide. So sometimes that can happen. That got really annoying, so I swapped them over to manual belts. And these, I actually customized the bracket so that it's removable. Normally, I've seen people on forums, they'll just weld the bracket here onto the pillar, but instead of doing that, I actually created a little piece. I fabricated a piece out of metal, out of steel, and then attached this to that, and then that to the pillar. Not too much else that's aftermarket in here. I just like to keep everything kind of stocked. The interior was really clean when I got it, except these door panels are kind of falling off. I tried to re-glue them on there, but they're not sticking. Alright, so this is the trunk, and in the trunk I've relocated the battery, and you can see I've added some amps for a sub and for the speakers in the cabin, right? And down here, you might be asking where my sub is. It's actually down here where I got the wagon. The CB9 Accord wagons of the same model years came with this plastic tray basically for the tire carrier, and I found one in a junkyard and I put it in this car and it fits. I had to cut some stuff a little bit to make this fit, but it fits perfectly. And then I decided to try out this JBL base hub that basically sits in your spare tire, which I thought was kind of cool, but it's actually pretty good. It's not bad for what it is. I used to be a huge audiophile and wanted my car to be, like, shake the ground basically, like you would know when I drove by. But I'm a little too old for that now, so this is a little bit more mild. It gives a good enough kick though for me. Alright, as for the exterior, I just have an exhaust because, like I said, in the accident or whatever, the running over the curb, the entire exhaust was bent and like there was holes in it, it was leaking, all kinds of stuff. So I bought an eBay exhaust. Probably should have bought a better brand, but I just wanted to get to work, and maybe in the future I'll swap the muffler out. And I have clear tail lights ready to go, but I wanted to clean them up, maybe open them up and black house them first before I put them on. So I just have the regular old ones on here still, but that'll be a future mod. This antenna actually works, which is insane to me because I've never seen one of these cars with a working antenna. So there's that, and then we'll go around to the front, under the hood. Alright, so under the hood is just a standard, it's still an F22A1, which is what these cars ship with. So it's the original motor, right? But the transmission is a newer model year Accord, and it mates right up. I did have to buy this adapter kit, so this engine mount, or motor mount, or transmission mount I guess, is an innovative mount that converts from auto to manual. I could have, I guess, taken the engine mount off of a manual car, cut this off, and welded the manual one on here, so I wouldn't have to do that. But I don't know, it seemed like too much work. So in the future, I have a manual mount in case I want to swap the engine out in the future for something else, because there's many more parts for a manual Honda than an automatic one. So. And as far as the motor goes, like I said, it's an F22A1, but the camshaft and the exhaust manifold are from a F22A6, which is just a newer model Accord that had better flow, basically. The cam was a little bit more aggressive, and the exhaust was a 4-to-1 kind of design, a 4-to-1, instead of just a 4 straight to 1 collector. The intake manifold is out of a Prelude H23. This is a common mod that I guess Accord owners make, so I decided to do that as well. And it has like the spacers, the plastic spacers or whatever, the heat guard things. The only thing I didn't do was swap out the spring valves and retainers, or the valve springs, sorry, the retainers, because these were still pretty new, 20,000 miles on them, so I figured whatever, they're a little bit weaker, but I've seen on the forums that doesn't really matter that much whether your valve springs and retainers are of the stronger variety or not. Is whatever. And what else am I missing here? The intake is also off of the Prelude, so this is a stock Prelude intake thing, so it looks stock. So I passed smog in California, because without this, if I had an aftermarket like aluminum tube or whatever without a carb sticker, I mean, I guess I could get one eventually. But this is just as good, and this air intake actually goes into the wheel well that pulls cold air. So this is actually a true cold air system, even though it looks stock. So there's that, and the filters are also a lot cheaper. They're like 10 bucks, so that works better for me. I also swapped out the radiator because the radiator had a hole in it, and so I got this aluminum one off of eBay. And the eBay radiator has a smaller inlet, which kind of sucks. So as you can see here, I jerry-rigged something where I took some tubing that was skinnier and put it inside the tubing, the stock tubing, which is fatter, and just forced that on there and clamped it down, and it seems like it's working. And then the master cylinder and stuff is all out of a junkyard Honda Accord, manual Honda Accord, and so is all the wiring. So the engine harness, most people, they splice it and they, like, you know, solder it together to make it the auto brain, you know, trick the auto brain into thinking that it's a manual. But for me, I was like, why do that when you can just get an engine harness that's made for a manual? And so I did that, and the computer is also, the ECU is also out of a manual, newer model Honda Accord that matches the camshaft and the exhaust manifold. Alright, let's see what else. This is the new battery terminals that I made. It's just some parts I got off of Summit Racing for a battery relocation kit or something. And just have the terminals up here, so the stock wiring actually just plugs into this, and this plugs to the battery in the back. So nothing, the wiring didn't change at all. I didn't change anything, so everything is still pretty much stock, and you can jump the car from here and do everything you need from right here. And as you can tell, I got these, what do you call them, like engine mount, whatever things here. I don't know what to call them, and traction rods down there. You can see that on both sides. Those are from ESP. You can see here I have a strut tower brace from ESP before they went out of business. I guess these guys don't exist anymore either, but their parts are pretty quality. I would say they're super well made, and it sucks that they don't exist anymore, but I bought them before they went out of business, and they just sat around for a couple years before I actually put them on. The other mod on this car that's not very apparent is that the brake, what do you call it, proportioning valve is a 40/40 out of a Acura Integra. So I replaced that. Pretty easy mod. It's hard to get to, which is the only problem. But other than that, yeah, because I changed the wheels to 5-lug, and I also added discs in the back instead of drum brakes. So this proportioning valve helps to move the brake fluid in a, you know, even manner, so that both your front and rear brakes are getting the same amount of force, versus in a stock configuration, the front would be doing most of the braking. Alright, well, that's about it for the engine bay. Let's get to the suspension now and the work that I did under the car, which is most of the work, which I'm not really going to show you because I'm not going to lift it up. But like I said, I did a 5-lug conversion. These are rotors and the hub and everything off of a 2006, I think, Honda Accord Coupe. This is the V6 model. I know you can use the Honda Odyssey spindles as well, but I just went with the Accord. I don't know why, just cuz. And the brakes are also off of the Accord, and these wheels are off of Acura TL. Alright, so here we're here at the back of the car. Same thing, 5-lug conversion. The rotors are off, and then the hub is from, but yeah, and it's all lowered on Tein. I don't know how you say it, but the T-E-I-N, the green springs. It's lowered on Tein coilovers, just the street version. You can't really see them, but they're adjustable. So yeah, there's that. And I've kind of dialed in my ride height by just like eyeballing it, and it looks okay. I think the rear could be a little bit lower. And then the last mod that I did, if we can get under here, the last mod that I did were the subframe. The rear subframe is off of Acura CL, late 90s model, I believe, like a 1997 or 1999. They happen to be, the bolt holes lined up, they happen to be the same size. I think it might be a little bit wider than the stock one, but the reason I did that was because this was pretty mangled, and also this model of Accord didn't have a rear sway bar. And there are models of Accords that did come with sway bars, but they're like noodle thin, you know what I mean? And I was like, that's not really going to do anything. So I found this, and the sway bar is actually pretty beefy. So I decided to go with the the bigger sway bar. Even though there's some debate as to whether beefier sway bars, rear sway bars at least, improve handling or not. Sometimes it's better without them, but I decided to go with. And so that subframe is from Acura CL, and then the arms are from the stock Honda Accord. So just swap the arms out. Pretty much everything else is stock. I don't know, I might have missed some stuff here, but for the most part, that's most of the work that went into it. So yeah, that's my Honda Accord build. I know it's not as wild as some of the other ones out there. It's probably more entertaining to see like a K24 swap in one of these turbo, K24 all-wheel drive. People are going crazy with these things now. But because of the condition of the car and the mileage I bought it at, I figured just a restoration, simple restoration, would be good, like the best thing for it, and just drive it kind of how it is and keep kind of the OEM look about it. So it's very sort of understated, you know what I mean? For a while, and then, I mean, at 20,000 miles, this thing will drive for another 300 for sure, and 300K is going to take me like at least 10 years, 20 years to get to. So maybe by then, once the engine's no good anymore, I'll swap it out for something else and do some crazy turbo kits or something on it. But this is just kind of a forever car for me. I think this is just it's old enough now to where it doesn't look cheap, and the paint's pretty clean for the most part. There's some chips and stuff and a little bit of rust here and there, but it's really not that bad. It's pretty clean, especially once I wash it properly and wax it and stuff. Like, it's gonna shine, it's gonna look like a new car. So I figure, because I'm not about buying new cars and stuff. I like to work on things I already own and just keep improving them, unless it's an electric car, obviously, because electric car, you can't really, it's not the same. So I'd have to buy one of those. Although I've been thinking about building my own electric car at some point, so that might be in the future. I might do that. Yeah, obviously there's other small mods left, like tinting the windows, and I was going to dull down the chrome trim and maybe spray painting them black. I have what do you call it, the grill piece. I have a new grill that I can put in there. Some headlight mods, might put in some projectors in there. But that's all, small stuff that's pretty easy to do, and I'll just work on as I go. But yeah, this is pretty much my forever car, man. As far as a small sedan that just gets around town, I'm not going to use that as a commuter car. It's mostly just for cruising and, just enjoying driving around. Actually, my truck is going to become my daily. Basically, and the van is going to be kind of a backup that I have, just in case, like, I become homeless or something, So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video about my Honda. I'm not really going to do too much work on it. I guess I can make little videos here and there about it, like the projector headlights I think might be fun to do, but I'm probably not going to get around to that for a while, because I need to fix my truck first. But yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching.